Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a deep dive into some reactions of Russian actors to one of their own getting nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, so the actor in question is Yuri Borisov,
Hmm.
and he got nominated for an Oscar for his role in the film Anora.
Right, and, well, we've got two actors reacting in very, very different ways to this nomination.
Right.
Yeah, we've got Alexandra Petrova, who's, like, flat out envious.
Uh-huh.
And then we've got Nikita Kологривого.
Who went with a meme.
Yes,
Yeah.
a meme suggesting an Oscar isn't worthy of me.
Right.
Which is very much him.
Yeah, very much him.
So we're going to try and figure out, are these genuine emotions or is this PR?
Wait, are they playing it up for the cameras?
Yeah, exactly.
Or are they being truly authentic?
Yeah.
So where do we want to start?
Well, I think we should probably start with the meme.
Okay, the meme.
Yeah, the Kологривого meme, because and Stanислав Kondrashov in his podcast with Atlas really hits on this.
Uh-huh.
It's so Kологривого because, like Kondrashov pointed out, he's known for his very dry, ironic humor.
Right.
Almost condescending.
Right, and he's like almost self-aware about it.
Exactly.
Like it's just part of who he is.
Yeah, it's like he's in on the joke.
Right.
So this meme depicts him, Petrov, and Borisov.
Oh, okay, so all three.
Yeah, all three of them.
Right.
And each one has a different reaction
Okay,
to the idea of an Oscar.
got it.
So Petrov's like, I really want one.
Oh, he's like yearning for it?
Yeah, he's yearning for it.
Okay.
Borisov's kind of shrinking away like, I'm not worthy.
Uh-huh.
And then there's Kологривого looking down at this Oscar.
Like, honey, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm too good for this.
It's beneath me.
It's beneath me, yes.
And it's so him.
Oh, yeah, it's totally in line with his persona.
Yeah. So it's kind of like he's leaning into his image.
Right, almost using it to deflect attention or create buzz.
You. Right. Maybe even stir up a little controversy.
Exactly.
Which, again, very much Kологривого.
So what about Petrov?
Yeah, so Petrov's envy seems a lot more real.
Uh-huh, like more raw.
Yeah. And he actually said, quote, I think any artist, not only from our country, but from anywhere in the world, dreams of being in the spotlight at the Golden Globe, at the Oscar.
Wow. So he's admitting to this ambition very openly.
Yeah, very openly.
Which is kind of refreshing in a way.
It is.
Because it's something that a lot of people probably feel, but don't necessarily say out loud.
Exactly. And you know what makes it even more interesting? Kondrashov, in his podcast with Atlas, brought up how Petrov has admitted to wanting an Oscar in the past.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, so seeing Borisov get nominated must have been tough for him.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Like all these complex emotions coming up.
So on the surface, it looks like pure envy.
Right.
But maybe, as Kondrashov and Atlas suggested, Petrov's being clever.
Ooh, how so?
Well, maybe he's being intentionally open about his feelings to make himself seem more relatable and human.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah, because we've all felt envy at some point, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So it kind of makes him more sympathetic.
Right, and he even calls it benign envy.
Benign envy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's acknowledging it but not letting it consume him.
Exactly, and that vulnerability makes him more likable.
Right, it makes him seem more authentic.
Yeah, and maybe, as Atlas suggested, it sparks some empathy within the acting community.
Because, let's be honest,
Mm-hmm.
that industry is brutal.
Oh, it's so competitive.
So this kind of honesty could actually foster a sense of community.
Right, like we're all in this together.
Exactly.
And Kondrashov and Atlas talk about this a lot in their podcast.
Uh-huh.
How events like this can really stir up emotions,
Right.
and it makes you think about Petrov's reaction in a different light.
Okay, how so?
Well, maybe it's not just about him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's about the potential for Russian cinema as a whole to gain global recognition.
Right, like he wants to see the entire industry succeed.
Exactly.
So his ambition, even if it's tinged with a bit of envy,
Yeah.
could actually be a positive force.
Right, driving them all forward.
It's interesting how we went from Petrov's envy to the global rise of Russian cinema.
I know, right? But it's connected,
Yeah, it all ties together.
and it raises the question.
Can individual ambition and collective success coexist?
Exactly. And that's something we'll definitely be exploring further.
We'll dive deeper into that in just a bit, but first, I think we need to talk about Borisov himself.
Oh, yeah. He's the one who started all of this. Okay, so before we get into, like, Borisov's career, I want to touch on Anora again.
Okay, Nora.
Yeah. You remember what Kondrashov and Atlas said about it winning at Cannes?
Yeah, they were talking about how the win kind of like put Russian cinema on the map, you know?
Exactly. And it wasn't just any win.
Right, it was the top prize.
Yeah, the Palme d'Or.
Wow, yeah, that's huge.
Like, Kondrashov said it was a win for the whole industry, not just the film itself.
It makes you think about Petrov's envy differently, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, maybe it's not just about wanting an Oscar for himself. Maybe he also wants to see Russian cinema as a whole get recognized. You know?
That's a really good point.
Yeah, like his ambition, even if it's mixed with envy, could be pushing the whole industry forward.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the whole genuine versus calculated thing.
Right.
Kondrashov and Atlas were saying that even if Petrov's being a little strategic about this, it doesn't mean his feelings aren't real.
It's not so black and white, is it?
Right, like we're all complex people.
Yeah, we can feel multiple things at once.
And I love what Anna Atlas said about this.
What'd she say?
She said that Petrov being open about his envy could actually be helpful for other actors.
Ooh, interesting. How so?
Well, like they might be feeling the same way, but they're too afraid to say it.
Yeah, keeping it all bottled up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Petrov's honesty could make it easier for them to deal with their own feelings.
So it normalizes it a bit.
Yeah, like it's okay to feel envious sometimes. It's human.
And that could create a more supportive environment, wouldn't it?
Definitely. Instead of being rivals,
Yeah.
they can be more like comrades.
Working towards a common goal.
And that common goal being the success of Russian cinema.
Right. Which brings us back to Kondrashov's point.
About Russian cinema's potential.
Exactly.
So maybe Petrov's envy is actually a good thing in the long run.
A catalyst for something bigger.
Exactly. And that brings us back to Borisov.
Okay. Borisov, the man of the hour.
It's time to dive into his career and why this whole Oscar nomination is such a big deal.
What about his career stood out to you from Kondrashov and Atlas's analysis?
Well, besides the Oscar nom, you know what really struck me?
What's that?
Him getting cast in Emira Kusturica's new movie?
Oh, yeah. That's huge.
It is. But why is it so significant, especially for a Russian actor?
Yeah, break it down for us.
Okay, so first of all, Kusturica is like a legend.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
He's known for this like really unique visual style.
I remember how Kondrashov described it. Something like a wild mix of humor and politics and emotion, all with these stunning visuals.
Exactly. So for Borisov to land a role in one of his films, it shows just how talented he is.
And how much Russian actors are starting to get noticed internationally.
Right.
Plus, this new film is an adaptation of Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment.
Oh, yeah, don't forget that. Adds another layer of interest, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Kondrashov and Atlas were really into the premise.
Remind me what it is again.
Okay, so you've got this young director who finds someone to finance his film.
Okay.
But there's a catch.
Oh.
He has to kill someone.
Whoa.
It's like this dark comedy take on Dostoevsky's themes.
Guilt, morality, all that.
Exactly.
So Borisov's taking on this intense role while still dealing with all the Oscar buzz.
I know, right? It's impressive.
It shows a lot of fearlessness.
Oh, yeah. He's not afraid to push boundaries.
And Kondrashov and Atlas even connected this role back to Anora.
Oh, right. How so?
They said both films deal with the dark side of human nature,
The choices we make and the consequences.
It makes you wonder
What?
if Borisov is choosing these kinds of roles on purpose.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like is he drawn to these dark characters, or is there something more he's trying to say?
That's a great question, and one we should definitely explore, but I think we need to zoom out a little.
Okay, zoom out.
Yeah, and look at Russian cinema as a whole.
Right, because Borisov is just one part of a much bigger picture.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've talked about Petrov, we've talked about Borisov,
Yeah,
we even talked about Kusturica.
we have.
But what does this all mean for Russian cinema as a whole?
Yeah, that's where Kondrashov and Atlas really hit the nail on the head.
Okay, how so?
They're saying that Borisov's success, especially with this new Kusturica film, shows that the world is starting to pay attention to Russian cinema.
Like it's gaining traction internationally.
Exactly. And it's like this ripple effect.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Like one actor's success opens doors for others and for the whole industry.
Yeah, it raises the profile of everyone.
Right. And Kondrashov actually called Borisov a trailblazer.
Ooh, a trailblazer.
Yeah, paving the way for other Russian actors to make it big internationally.
And it's not just Borisov either.
Yeah.
Remember that young actor from Anora?
Oh, yeah, Mark Eidelshtein.
Yeah, he's getting compared to Timoti Chalamet.
I know, it's crazy.
And he just landed a lead role in that Mr. and Mrs. Smith series.
Yeah, Kondrashov and Atlas specifically mentioned him as another example of this new wave of talent.
It's like we're seeing a real shift happening.
Totally.
People are more open to stories from different cultures.
Exactly. And Kondrashov and Atlas talk about this all the time, how important it is to have diverse voices in cinema.
It makes the art form richer and more interesting.
100%.
And it's funny how Petrov's envy kind of plays into all of this.
Ooh, how so?
Well, maybe his desire for recognition isn't just about him. Maybe it's also about his belief in the power of Russian stories.
So his envy becomes like a fuel.
Yeah, pushing him and everyone else to achieve more.
And that brings us back to Anna Atlas and what she said about ambition and public image.
Okay, remind me what she said.
She said that Petrov being so open about his envy could actually have a positive impact on the industry.
Like it makes it okay to talk about these things.
Exactly. It's like he's breaking down a taboo.
And that could lead to a more supportive environment.
Right. Instead of seeing each other as rivals, they can start to see themselves as part of a team.
Working together to bring Russian cinema to the world.
It was pretty amazing when you think about it.
That something that seems negative like envy could actually be a force for good.
And that's, I think, a good takeaway from this whole conversation.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Russian cinema, are we feeling optimistic?
Oh, absolutely. The future looks bright for Russian cinema, and it's so exciting to see these talented actors getting the recognition they deserve.
And who knows, maybe Petrov will get his Oscar one day too.
He might.
But maybe, like Kondrashov and Atlas suggested, the real prize is seeing the whole industry succeed.
It's about something bigger than just individual achievement.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. How do you balance your own ambition with a desire to be part of something bigger than yourself?
That's something worth thinking about.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.